Hey, shalom, shalom, Akim. This is your brother Azariah. I want to start by giving all the praise, all the honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Yahweh being the true name of the Most High God, and doing so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world knows as Jesus Christ, but we know the true name to be Yahawashi, and He is the Hamashiach. All right, and what we want to do today is just nail a kind of an element of the 12 tribes chart, right? In the aspect of how we view it, the validity of it. Do we feel it as valid, I should say? And if so, how should we use it? So this is mostly going to be the aspect in terms of how should we use it. Really, this is this is opinionated in some sense, because I mean people can have different ways of how they particularly angle it. So I'm not saying you have to use it this way per se, but it kind of just brings a little bit of a balance of how to deal with especially if you're teaching, going out on the block and talking about the 12 tribes chart. And then we'll get into a little bit of prophecy dealing with it as well, in terms of, again, also correlating to how we should use it. Now, when you deal with the validity of the 12 tribes chart, is there validity to it? The first thing, yes, there is validity to the 12 tribes chart. We're not going to sit here and say that this is something that's totally made up and there's no information that has been given that is accurate on this 12 tribes chart. Now, we are only dealing with the western part, of the world, right? We're dealing with this chart is dealing with specifically more so of America, right? Babylon the Great, of our people that would be scattered around here. For the most part, there's there's other places, like you look at Zebulon, there's Guatemala to Panama, the Mayans. You got obviously Asher, there's a Colombia, to Uruguay, and then you have Argentina or Chile from Naphtali, and then Benjamin with the West Indies, and so it really and then Levi. Now, granted, a lot of these people were scattered here too into Babylon, and that's the part. Though you can find them, we can be found really anywhere and out the country as well. All variety of Jake, even Judah can be found out the country, living there because maybe they moved there, or that's actually where they were scattered too. So you just can find us everywhere as the sand of the sea across the four corners of the earth. But there's some things that do line up, like real quickly, like for example, not going through the whole 12 tribes chart, but for example, when you deal with when you're dealing with Levi, right, as listed as the so-called Haitians here on this chart, and then you got Simeon listed as the so-called Dominicans, right, predominantly, because we really, when going into this, we really can't even determine for sure just because you're listed as Haitian as now, right, for say, doesn't necessarily mean you were a Levite, you were born from or descend from the loins of Levi, over roughly 4,000 years ago. We can't call that into effect. We don't know for sure, because obviously it just depends where you came from. We've been scattered, and you may be it's hard as it is to, or could be, to believe why you may be a so-called Haitian now, because remember, these are bywords, and this chart was used in a sense to kind of help our people identify who they may be, and it kind of brings some more realization or relatability, I should say, more relatability to who we could be or where our tribe could be, because this could be accurate for someone, but it may not be, right? For example, I could be from the tribe of Judah, right? But whole time, because I'm listed as a quote unquote American Black or African American, my whole life. But I could find out, down, could find out in that time. Because when Yahawashi comes back down, that's one of those things where when Yahawashi returns, he's going to sort out those who belong to him, of his chosen, of those who belong to what tribe and what nation, who is who. So Yahweh willing, we're on the good side of things, brothers and sisters, and then we would know ultimately who we belong to and where we truly descend from in terms of the 12 tribes from Israel. But regardless, there is still some prophecy that is unfolded that does line up with the chart, and that's why I wouldn't say it's something to disregard by any means, to throw out. It is a helpful tool. I wouldn't put all my eggs into the basket of this and to say that if you're not on this chart, that means you're not an Israelite. That would be inaccurate, right? Even in this, because this is an IUIC post here, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad in James 1:1, right? So at Isaiah 11:11, scattered throughout Africa and abroad. These are different places. In Deuteronomy 28, the curses are there too, right? Let's just get that real quick. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64, right? And it reads, and Yahweh, well, we'll start 63. And it shall come to pass that as Yahweh rejoice over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Right? And so, we could keep it going, but that's really the gist of it. We'd be scattered among all people. And this is the key curse to let you know this is dealing with an Israelite. So when we're amongst Egypt, like when you deal with Isaiah 19, it says Egypt, my people. It's talking about my people in Egypt, that are scattered. The ones that are scattered over to Egypt and Assyria, because we're everywhere, right? You can find Israelites literally everywhere, sand of the sea, right? So, and this is also going to lead to people being off the 12 tribes chart, but let me just stay in line too as well. When you're dealing with certain prophecies, right? Let's get this one. Let's get the book of Genesis chapter 49. We're going to go to verse 5. So Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. All right. Now, when you go into back to the chart, right? You have Levi as so-called Haitians, and you have Simeon as so-called Dominicans. There is actual history between this. Even in the Dominican Republic, you had the land of Haiti and Dominica. There was actually one whole land at one point. Let's get this real quick. All right. So this goes into the Dominican Republic Haiti relations. Dominican Republic Haiti relations are the Dominican Republic relations between the nations of Dominican Republic and Haiti. I keep saying Haiti. Relations have long been hostile due to substantial ethnic and cultural differences, historic conflicts, territorial disputes, and sharing the land of Hispaniola. Right? This was a whole, or sharing the island. This was a whole spot together, Dominican Republic and Haiti relations, right? So, let me see, territorial disputes and sharing the island of Hispaniola, part of the Greater Antilles Archipelago in the Caribbean region. The living standards in Dominican Republic are considerably higher than those in Haiti. The economy of the Dominican Republic is 10 times larger than that of Haiti. The migration of impoverished Haitians and historical differences have contributed to long-standing conflicts, right? We'll go to the island real quick. All right, let's go to it. So Hispaniola, real quick, is an island in the Caribbean that is part of the Greater Antilles. Hispaniola is the most populous island in the West Indies and the region's second largest area after the island of Cuba. All right, so let's go through. So island is divided into two separate nations: the Spanish-speaking Dominican Republic to the east and the French Haitian Creole-speaking Haiti to the west, right? So you see the divide, right? You see the divide that are into the two separate nations: the Spanish, which conquered the Dominican Republic, right, or Dominican so-called, and on the east you had the French that conquered, the Haitians, so-called Haitians, right, and they conquered that territory. So there was a divide within and a split, right? Spanish took over Dominican Republic around 1861. Prior to the independence, right, that was in 1804, Haiti was, colonized by the French, right, in which also the French was, a colony of Saint Domingue, right? So now when you go back to Genesis 49 to tie it together, again, Genesis 49:5, Simeon and Levi are brethren. They literally were brethren, inhabitants of the same territory, same area, right? Same island, until obviously, that's when the curses came in, when the enemies, wicked Edomites, would conquer them and have now, part of them having them speak in a different language, and then also be at odds, end up being completely at odds with one another. Again, part of the curses. Now, when you see these things, right, and we could go further, the instruments of cruelty are in their habitations, different things, like, for example, the voodoo, Dominican are known for that. There's Dominican voodoo, and also Haiti being very much known for that as well. So you see prophecy just lines up, and there's more to get into, a lot more. However, the point is just to show you guys that, it's not just some, chart that people just stuck, hey, I'm gonna stick this over here and this over here. No, there's definitely validity to these things when we search, and look into it. There's definitely some validity to it if we're just being honest. But it's not the end all be all. Like I say, when I'm out there teaching, and we talk to brothers about, it's not the end all be all. If someone doesn't see themselves on this chart, we let the spirit bear witness, right? At the end of the day, because we were scattered abroad into different territories, you're gonna have people who really do descend from Jacob, but they far from look like it. And they don't have to be so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. They could be so-called white. They could be so-called Asian. They could be listed as so-called, as an Arab, Indian, right? It's one of those things, any of those things. I'm not talking about Native American Indians neither, right? So it's one of those scenarios where we just got to let the spirit bear witness of who's a believer in Yahawashi HaMashiach. Now, before I go into that, well, let's just go there, since I'm already listed to really go there. Romans 8:16. The spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh, right? And the children then heirs of Yahweh and joint heirs with the Mashiach. If so, be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So it's really going to come down to the spirit bearing witness. Though there is prophecy that does link up, right? For example, for people that don't, when it comes to, a lot of times people try to attack, or they'll try to attack really, the chart really, because they have an issue. Not everybody, some people generally have questions, but there are definitely people out there that have attacked the validity of, whether so-called Native Americans and, Hispanics, actually are of among us, right? Of the 12 tribes of Israel. And you just see that prophecy really takes care of that, for one, right? Let's go into the book of Jeremiah chapter 50 and 33. Right? And this says, "Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, or armies, the children of Israel and the children of Judah." Right? We know that's northern kingdom here, Israel representing northern kingdom, and Judah representing southern. Right? "Thus saith Yahawah of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Their Redeemer," which we know is Yahawashi, "is strong. Yahawah of hosts is his name," right? Even though, of course, this is prophecy, right? Though Yahawah, you could credit it to Yahawah at the end of the day, because it's all Yahawah. Yahawah is the one that orchestrated this, but we know he's going to use his son, Yahawashi, to free, and deliver the captives from amongst the 12 tribes of Israel, those of the elect and the rest of the children who are believers, right? That are joint heirs, as we read in the previous book and chapter. Though I don't think I read the last one. I didn't read the verse right after, but you get it. "He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon." All right. So it's saying that northern and southern kingdom are going to be oppressed together. Now this is dealing with Babylon, the inhabitants of Babylon. So we're talking strictly about Babylon here. That means wherever Judah is, Israel got to be. So where the northern kingdom is, southern kingdom got to be. And we see a predominance of our people that are northern and southern kingdom. So the complexion is not a thing to really factor in. We're going to have all different shades of our people. Remember, we were colonized, so, the people that were, which these people originally were darker back in times past, but that even goes for, if you even look into Moab, right? Moab, everybody was a darker set of people. Esau was the only one that's why it was so different when he was born, because he was red, right? He was red all over, and it was an astonishment. But all nations really, for the most part, really were darker shades of people. They were darker shades. They were darker set people, right? So it was nothing to marvel at, as it is now, because of a lot of changes, a lot of things, a lot of people, mixing with other people, other sets of people. Then you have the colonization, scattering, people even not even having their own last names, being able to tie themselves up with their ancestors of the past because of things like, changing their names, changing their last names when they were slaves, maybe to be freed. So, different things, adoption, you could lose a lot throughout this trail. And it said we would, forget our heritage. So, Salakia. But, that's what you want to take it as, and just understand, for real, back to Romans 8 and 16. This time I will for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, read 17. "For the Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahawah. And if children, then heirs, heirs of Yahawah, and joint heirs with Hamashiach. If so, be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together." See that? So it's one of those things. Where definitely, if the spirit bear witness, you're gonna know, right? They're gonna believe, they're gonna call on Yahawashi, they're gonna do the actions thereof, especially, hey, getting initiated in Yahawashi Hamashiach, to the body, doing things like these, calling on his name and trying to keep his commandments to the best of your ability. That's not gonna, there's no, shade restriction to that. You can't put a restriction based off someone's appearance. Let's get a precept on that. People familiar with. All right, 1 Samuel 16:7. But Yahweh said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For Yahweh seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but Yahweh looketh on the heart. All right, and that still applies, obviously, to this very day. The Most High changes not. So, we got to really go based off the spirit, letting the spirit bear witness, with our spirit that we are. That's how we ultimately do, is bearing witness with the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. So if they call on Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi in truth and sincerity, one thing I tell, I was talking with brothers, if they get to me, once the minute they get in that water in the name of Yahawashi, confessing that name, the name of Yahawashi, and I know Jesus Christ, and Yester, and whoever, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, which is inaccurate. No, when they get in that water in the name of Yahawashi, anybody that does that is a confirmed Israelite. That's my belief. Anyone that gets in the water and calls on the name of Yahawashi Hamashiach that they believe and are baptized by the blood, that right there proves their validity, because that baptism is only for Israel. I think the most, I don't see any example. I could stand corrected, but I'm willing to put some money on it that I don't think the Most High would allow a true heathen to get in the water in the name of Yahawashi. This is all spiritual. Remember, guys, at the end of the day, we gotta put the spiritual caps on, and there's a difference, because it's not for heathen to that baptism goes into the covenant. That's a piece of the new covenant to come for the children that will receive the promise. And a heathen is not a part of receiving that covenant promise. They are actually part of a gift for those who the promise is for. So they're actually a gift, future servants. They're part of the promise as far as what's in there, part of a benefit, if you will. So possession. So, I just don't see any angle that something like that happens. And you can't say that man or woman, no matter how light or white even, or whatever they look like, whatever they appear of, they don't appear to look like, your typical Jake in these days, I wouldn't hold them to, there's no way I could say if they did that they're not an Israelite, no matter how they look. Again, we've gone through a lot of scattering, we've gone through a lot as a people. So I would definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely the 12 tribes chart, it's a good reference point, and it's a good way to have conversation, especially if you're teaching. It's a good way to have conversation and to, maybe bring up some points about it that could, very well relate. You run into a Northern Kingdom brother or sister, whatever the case may be, and okay, well, look, hey, look, boom, boom, this is what happened with your people, and maybe you can share, they already know, or share the information, and it could go a long way. You never know. It's definitely good conversation, but the ultimate tool that we use is this gospel, the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, to determine, letting the spirit bear witness. So even if they're not on that 12 tribes chart, doesn't mean that they're not an Israelite. So with that being said, I hope this was edifying, and I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi. Peace. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, learning and or teaching this gospel in truth and sincerity. Until next time, y'all willing. Shalom.